Good Sunday afternoon, gentlemen. Just hanging out here with a happy ending. I can barely even fit it in the screen because it's so big. You know, this guy and me have had a lot of good memories together already. I'll be updating everybody with a nice video montage at some point. Oh, hold on. What side am I on? I don't even know. There's so many of these right now. Where am I? Oh, there I am. Fantasy football champion. Forte or dash Mike Mostrom. Just hanging out again, like I said, with a happy ending though. Going over all this information that has been accrued over the last few days in your guys' intoxicated state. I can tell a lot of the decisions you've been trying to make were obviously in that state because half of them don't make any sense. So I thought I'd go step by step through each one. I took a few notes, as a good commissioner should do. Have prepared valid arguments per usual. Also, a few subtle burns at people who are idiots, and going for there. And let me put this guy to the side. I like to just keep him near me at all times. But let's go to work. Let's go to work here. Happy ending, because you know what? We obviously know what a championship's about. Nobody else out there does. So going to these amendments. First one, opening up the trading. Obviously, I thought that was fine right off the bat. That went through rather quickly. I had no issue with that. Amendment passed. We're good to go there. Everybody can trade. Rogers already started, which thank God he needed to. And yeah, let's go into Amendment 2. Rookie draft, second to last Sunday of July, 12 days at least on Facebook via video. I'm so undecided on this one. You know, first and foremost, outside of that initial, we're going to pass everything and get going though on the trading stuff. There will be a more formal documentation as far as these amendments go, and as required by law, you do have to be sober to pass an amendment. You might want to take that in consideration. Everybody who was at the Helm Hole House the other day, and yeah, to start. I don't know how my feelings are on that. One, because everybody's not necessarily available during their 24-hour time slot, so it's hard to put an exact hour amount on it. To say that somebody has to make a draft pick within 24 hours of the last one is pretty ridiculous. Hypothetically, again, I like to take vacations. I like going places. What if my pick selection happens to fall on the one day where I already have a vacation scheduled? Do I then miss my draft pick? A la Minnesota Vikings? Does somebody get drafted for me? There's a lot of issues that correspond with that. Argument one against it. Argument two, as Mr. Andy Helmholt has stated a few times, which I definitely agree with. I love to see, number one, how injuries are portraying to the whole situation of the depth chart. Number two, how the depth chart works out itself, even in some sort of positional battle. It's hard for me to draft somebody, then put them on a 2, 3, 4, 5 year contract when who knows who even knew. I mean, he might get hurt even before he ever steps foot on the football field after I've already drafted him and invested 5 years in him. Maybe he's hurt for 3 years, 2 year ACL injury. Who knows? Nobody knows. But the fact is that if people can get out the field, prove themselves, make sure it's happening, they're good to go. I feel a lot more comfortable in my selection. I'm even fine doing this with, after a week or two in the preseason, but I don't like the idea of doing it before the preseason starts for that depth chart reason as well. So there are two big arguments against it. And whether we want to do it in person, which might help out whether we do it in person or on videos, for weeks in advance, yes, it might help out the trade situations. I don't know how much it would or would not, to be honest with you. It might a little bit. But I also enjoy, as I think most of you guys do, getting together and doing the whole situation that way. However, is it possible to do that for 12 straight days? No, it's not. So I'm more open to this amendment either way, and I will post that onto the page as more of a legitimate type vote, with hopefully a little bit more overall detail as well that people can add on if they want. But like I said, I've taken some notes. Amendment 3. This is the one that absolutely makes no sense to me. I think it is stupid. I think it's ridiculous. I think the other amendment that I just mentioned actually makes more sense if we're trying to follow what the NFL does. But I'm going to be honest, at this point, sorry, this is getting heavy on my left arm. At this point, I think people are picking and choosing what they want this league to be like, and if it's whether or not like the NFL or not, it doesn't matter. You know why? Because this amendment makes absolutely no sense because it's not like it is in the pros whatsoever. And then even the amending part to the amendment, we're going to go ahead and decrease salaries. What kind of world you guys live in? As Roger stated, actually, I'll give Roger props for that. Maybe he's the only one with the brain out there. Nobody's salary. In fact, I challenge you. I challenge you to name one person in the NFL who has ever had a decreasing salary. Nobody. In fact, we're going to go ahead and put that into the NBA. We're going to put that into the NHL. We're going to put that into any professional sport. Nobody takes a decreasing salary. Nobody does a front-laden salary. The reason why is because it gives the GMs more flexibility. Eric, you mentioned putting more in the players' hands, giving them the abilities. We don't talk to the players. We don't know anything about the players other than they play. I don't know Julius Thomas's personality. Would he sign for a minimum contract for multi-years in order to win a Super Bowl? He might. He absolutely might. In fact, a lot of veterans do that. In fact, even some younger players do that because they want to win. So if we're trying to, again, via all your guys' words, mimic the NFL, that's the worst idea I've ever heard. I don't know if it was Eric or Derek Naberta. Piss poor. Um, Furthermore, Derek, you keep looking at this dynasty that has been in. Oh, shoot. I got another champion shirt. I just have so many championships going on right now. Derek, you're looking at a dynasty that has been around for 5 years. If you want to get all the information correct, maybe you should ask Eric for the spreadsheets through year 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, after year 5, has things changed a little bit where, you know what, we are almost having a redraft? Yes, but also ask Eric this, or myself this, or anybody else who's in that league. Has it ever happened before? No, absolutely not. And the reason why is because there's multi-year contracts set up. And there is a minimum salary cap years you have to have, 50 years. I can't go through and load up on one or two strong people, like a McCoy, like a Johnson, sign them both for 1 year, and then even have enough cap room to necessarily send everybody else to make it 50 years. That's what we don't understand about this whole concept, is that with that minimum cap year stipulation already put in, that basically stops us from having to do exactly what we're doing. And on top of that, formula or non-formula or whatnot, it really doesn't matter because there's always going to be a stipulation. All right, for running backs, it's going to have to be a specific age, specific carries, specific experience. How many years have they been in the pros? We'll go ahead and change based on even their age what they could possibly sign for. For example, CJ Spiller is actually just as, I believe him and MJD are about the same age, but he has hundreds of less carries than MJD. So how are we going to put those two in different realms? That's an example. We go into wide receivers. It's the same type deal again. I mean, do we handle a 20-year-old wide receiver the same as a 25 or a 30-year-old wide receiver? Brandon Marshall, happy birthday, Brandon Marshall. You turned 30 today. You know what? Brandon Marshall will have 100 catches next year. So how is he different from a 23-year-old that's going to get 100 catches, or maybe a 35-year-old that's going to get 100 catches? Again, experience, age, how long they've been in these environments. I mean, there's too many variables to say, all right, based on this exact number for this exact person, this exact age, and this exact position, it's not going to work out. That's why the minimum cap years are in there. If anything needs to be changed, if you want to change something along that structure, maybe it's the minimum cap years. Maybe we make that 55. Maybe we make that 60. I'm not sure, but I don't think we can put stipulations on the contracts. What else do I have here for those notes? Realistic, where I talked, 5-year dynasty, decreasing salaries, yeah, that's fine. So that's my argument against it, and I do believe that makes a lot of sense. Feel free to put your notes below on that. As far as, I guess this was actually the original Amendment 3, Derek and Scott's trade outside with the salary cap. Yeah, you know, it kind of was what it was type deal. I mean, there was no rules or regulations against it. However, maybe that's something we come into play. I know Jason for a side bet still. I know people do bet money. I mean, Eric tries to bet money every single week in the playoffs or throughout the regular season because he knows he's not going to win at the end and collect anything. So I'm fine with that sort of side bet, but I don't think we should do any more with salary cap implications for a year. And I will be happy to put something together for that as well. Andy, way to go. Dropping Tony Gonzalez. You can thank me publicly for putting that into your brain at the original draft. That's the only reason why you actually met your minimum contract years. Also, argument against Derek in these years or whatever with McCoy and Johnson. I want you to remember that I didn't even sign those guys for 1 year. I acquired those guys for the 1 year for my championship run, and that's a part of the strategy of being an owner. Did I give up future contracts, future great contracts? I absolutely did, but I put all my hats in the last year, dropped them all in there, did all the work I had to do, which is what a GM would do. He will load up for 1 year if he's going to make that run, and he got it. I got it. So now what? What am I? Do I have some salary cap room? Yes, I do have some salary cap room. Two, though, am I going to be able to sign all those players again? Absolutely not. I'm going to have to restructure. I'm going to have to retool. But because I'm a good general manager, I do have some good quality assets that I still have in contract this year that I still have in long-term contracts. That's the way you structure a dynasty in the league. All right. With the trades going on, I actually haven't looked at the new updated football spreadsheet, which I will go ahead and pull that up now. Roger, I will say way to go. Welcome to the league. It looks like you are actually making quite a bit of progress, getting rid of some of the junk contracts that Dustin obviously never wanted to do or wasn't able to give up for anything outside of your right leg and your fist or your hand. But end up with a ton of contract room or cap room. Good job. That will set you up for a nice restructure, retool going into this year and the future. Probably hurt you a little bit this year. Probably helped out Andy quite a bit this year, but again, Andy tends to go all in for a year at a time, and then he goes from that point. Part of his strategy. So yep, Spiller, Cruz, for Eifert, whatever. I mean, you didn't get crap back. I mean, Eifert's not going to be anything that those two players are going to do, but you're going to readjust your team accordingly, and Andy's going to be pretty much done after his draft. Looking into wasn't Jason's team, it was Scott's team. Scott, unfortunately, did also get stronger, which, kill me. Our division, every year. We just have this dynasty battle back and forth. But Scott's in the same position. He's going pretty much all in this year. His team this year is going to be pretty much his same team next year. Sounds like a dynasty. That's odd. That's awkward how that works out. Huh. Doesn't make sense. Huh. Guess that's what it is, though. Okay, well, it's a dynasty. So he's going to have basically the same team set up for at least the next 2 years as his top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 players are all under contract for at least 2 years. 2 more years on top of what they already were previously. So have all that situated. Nice work, Scott. And again, nice work to Roger for setting up a restructure. Again, your team maybe isn't quite as strong as it was before. But we're going to see how you do with the draft and thereafter. So, anyways, this video is getting long. My throat's getting dry. I'm tired. Sick. I don't know. This guy, I think I'm going to go take a nap with my trophy here soon. But you guys can feel free to discuss. I think my most valid argument against is for this whole salary for high-end players, blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of open to this rookie draft thing, but I think the stipulations need to be broadened a little bit, just strictly because of time constraints and time frames and whatnot too. So let me know your thoughts below. Be happy to get back to you. Commish, the champ, the happy ending. We all sign out. Peace.